before the scientific name, some products that have it are Prime Nutrition's Ninja MD, Glycofuse, Carbolin is another, it's like a, it's not a highly branched leukodextrin, but it's another high molecular carbohydrate. Waxy maize, yeah, and then a bunch, yeah. If you go to, there's a website called TrueNutrition.com, and you can actually buy them by the carbohydrate name. So you can buy highly branched leukodextrins there, or waxy maize there.
You would say complex carbohydrates don't get digested?
They can't, no. They will eventually, but they have to be broken down to glucose first.
So over time.
Yeah,
That's why that's what they're stored.
Exactly, yeah.
What's your take on pre, Justin?
Pre-workout?
Yeah, pre. Should I cycle on and off it like every 2 or 3 months, or what?
Ideally, you would take 0 pre-workouts. You would never take a pre-workout and your training intensity would be this high. That's not going to happen. Because some days you just don't have any energy to feel like crap. So the second level of idealness would be on days where your energy was this high, you wouldn't take a pre-workout. But on days your energy was this high, you would take a pre-workout to boost them that high. But what ends up happening pretty quick is once you've taken a pre-workout to boost your energy level this high, it's hard to have your energy that high naturally. I don't use pre-workouts, but I take caffeine pretty much before every workout. Occasionally I'll take an actual pre-workout, but most pre-workouts, the only really active ingredient is caffeine. I mean, they have different kinds of caffeine, diet caffeine. I can't remember all the different versions of caffeine now. Used to be able to do stuff like ephedrine and stuff that would, yeah. But ideally, you would only use them to boost your energy because pre-workouts actually raise cortisol, which decreases your ability to build muscle. But you have to think, so if my energy is right here, and I'm not going to build much muscle anyways. So even though it might decrease my ability to build muscle, if it boosts my energy up here and I have twice as good of a workout, that 2% decrease in muscle building is going to be overcome by 200% better workout. Yeah. You shouldn't use them every workout, but I take caffeine or something before pretty much every workout.
Thanks.
BCA supplements, are they worth the money or not? BCA supplements?
No, yes. It's really, when you say branched-chain amino acids, the branched-chain amino acids are L-tyrosine, or L-leucine, valine, and isovaline. Only leucine is the one you want. L-leucine is really the specific trigger for protein synthesis. So yes, you need L-leucine or you're not going to trigger protein synthesis. Now the debate is my natural diet high enough in L-leucine to trigger the protein synthesis on its own, or do I need the branched-chain amino acids? The other thing with the branched-chain amino acids is they can be used directly as energy. They almost always will go through gluconeogenesis because they're usually in the form of a protein, not just a separate amino acid. But if you ingest them as just amino acids, they can be used directly as energy. I have BCAAs in that. I get them for free usually though. I don't know that I buy them, but when I get them for free, I will take them. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're going to spend $20 on BCAAs or $20 on flank steak, spend it on a flank steak. If you've already bought the flank steak and have $20 extra that you want to spend, then spend it on the BCAAs.
Is that your opinion just in off-season or prep too?
I don't like them prep because they can be directly used as an energy source.
Okay.
People think, well, I want to preserve muscle, right? I don't want to burn muscle on my diet. But I will say, if you're doing a bodybuilding contest, nothing matters until you're in contest condition. It doesn't matter how much muscle you have. If you're fat on stage, you're not going to win. So preserving muscle should always be secondary to burning fat on a contest prep. And we were talking about Mitchell Stats earlier, right? He was in shape at 225 pounds. He turned pro as a heavyweight, or a light heavyweight. He lost a good 20, 25 pounds of muscle to get in the conditioning he got into, which is why he won his pro card. If he would have competed as a 222-pound heavyweight, he wouldn't have got his pro card. So that's a perfect example of losing muscle to get that extra 2% conditioning and being better because of it. Bodybuilding isn't a muscle contest, it's a fat loss contest, almost always. It's up until the Mr. Olympia level. If you go to, certainly at any stage show, the most conditioned guy, if there's a guy with pro level conditioning, strided glutes, crimson streak, it doesn't matter if he's a middleweight, he's winning the overall. It does, you know, that's, at the state level, it's all conditioning. Even at the national level, how many huge guys do you know that compete for a pro qualifier year after year and don't turn pro because they've never been in shape? You know, everyone always says, God, if he ever got dialed in, he would turn pro, he'd dominate. Bodybuilding, and also isn't about building muscle, but competition bodybuilding is about not having fat on your body. It's much less about muscle. And almost always, it's worth losing muscle to get 1% better conditioning.
So you're on the lowest body fat.
Yeah, that's really all bodybuilding is who's got the lowest body fat on stage. As long as you have some muscle, that's what matters.
As far as like in that pre-workout, I'd stick carb floater and then creatine powder in there as well. It's like that. Is that gonna help me at all for like gaining weight? And then that L-leucine amino acid or something? Is that something I want to look into to getting that?
Yeah, that's a branched chain amino acid. Most amino acid supplements, any amino acid supplement, branched amino acid or essential amino acid that doesn't have leucine isn't worth. I mean, they shouldn't even market it. Leucine is really the one you want. You can. It's hard to find leucine on its own because most people just sell branched chain amino acids. You could probably get L-leucine at a bulk site like TrueNutrition.com. But creatine, yeah, will definitely help. Creatine is probably the best supplement there is for actually adding size quickly. What creatine does, everyone know creatine phosphate, there's the energy systems. Creatine phosphate is the first like really short duration energy cycle. It produces energy for, you know, a few seconds worth of movement. And then it goes to glycolysis and then oxidative phosphorylation. But creatine primarily draws water into the muscle, which we talked earlier about how a hydrated muscle is better at building muscle, better at burning fat. It's just better overall. But creatine's a great supplement. It's cheap too.
For the hydrochloric or monohydrate?
What's that?
Hydrochloric or monohydrate?
Doesn't matter. Yeah, it'll get in the body eventually. And then your creatine starts to kind of like a bucket. And so you have a bucket to fill creatine in. Now, front loading might fill that bucket quicker. Different hydrochloride, I don't even know the different kinds, might store it a little bit quicker. Or instead of, if you take 5 grams, maybe 4 of them will get stored instead of 3. But once that bucket's filled, it's filled. You can't, any more you take, it just spills out anyways. So the different types just means that bucket gets filled on Thursday instead of Friday. But after Friday, for the next 6 months, it stays filled. So just get the cheapest kind.
So when you're done loading, just like go with the same pace and just like go.
Yeah, and I just buy monohydrate. I don't even load either. Loading might fill it on Wednesday. I'll just wait till Friday and save $20. You know.
So creatine, are you doing that after workout, in your drink?
In my drink. Yeah, you kind of want it with carbohydrates, and the reason is the insulin drives nutrients in. So when you have carbohydrates, it makes insulin, and so it'll make more of the creatine get taken up each time. I mean, eventually the bucket's going to get filled no matter what, but the insulin will help fill. You know, if you take 5 grams each day, you know, if you take monohydrate, if you take the crappiest kind of creatine and don't eat any carbohydrates with it, of those 5 grams, maybe only 2 grams will get actually into the muscle.
You have to have the carbohydrate.
Yeah, you don't really. Eventually, those 2 grams are still going to fill that bucket. It's just going to be slower. Where if you take a carbohydrate, maybe that bumps you to 3 or 4 grams. And if you take the more expensive type of creatine, it might get all 5 grams in it. But yeah, I always take it with the carbohydrate though. How long are we? Hour 15. If you got any more questions, I'll keep going. Anybody?
What anti-inflammatories, will they hurt muscle growth then?
Even though Tom Prince was a famous bodybuilder who weighed over 300 pounds in the off-season, who pounded Advil like crazy. Most bodybuilders I know take it. Advil's actually, anti-inflammatories are horrible for heart health. They're incredibly unhealthy. And the AMA is doing new research and new publications basically saying they're a specific trigger for heart attacks and heart disease. Yeah, the NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, are horrible for health. And so the bodybuilders worry because some studies show that they decrease the effectiveness of your workout or decrease the ability to build muscle. I would think that's at most 0.1%. I don't think that matters at all. And certainly I know that like when my knees or hips are really bad, I can't get through a leg workout without ibuprofen. And so you know, I'm certainly going to build more muscle by taking them and actually making it through a workout. But they're not something you take all the time. But certainly it goes like with the pre-workout. If you got bad elbows and it's arm day or chest day, and if you don't take any ibuprofen, your workout's going to be down here, but if you take it, you're going to be able to kill it, then take it. But know that as far as health is concerned, they're really bad for heart health. And 50% of Americans are going to die of obesity illness, and 50% of those people are going to die from heart disease related to obesity. And so there's, you know, that's a big, almost all of us are going to die from some heart-related disease, heart or cancer pretty much. And so if anti-inflammatories are really more or less a direct trigger for heart issues, probably should avoid them as much as possible. But I take them before a leg workout usually.